Never said anything except to say, "We'll be shut up and play." That's all he ever said.
Strange, you know, the three brothers. You have two very articulate and philosophical, and Oscar was like the straight ahead man.
Well, Oscar was the firstborn. Oscar was the rock of the family. Always made sure, no matter what else, that his mother and father were taken care of. And even now, he's the one that takes care of his mother.
Oh, the mother is still around?
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. She must be about 85 or 90 or something.
Could be.
Yeah, because he's like 40.
Well, he was just 60.
He didn't keep himself in shape like the other two, though, for some reason.
He was always in shape. He just happened to hurt himself. He played hurt very stupidly. Took a shot that had absolutely no reason to take, because that was Oscar. He kept playing even though he was told to stop, forfeit the game, give it up. He refused to. And that just killed him. He played 15 minutes when he should have been out on a stretcher. Captured on tape.
Yes, I do.
Did you see what happened? Perfect example of Roberts-Rojas.
Right. No fault.
The guy blocked him. Didn't mean a thing. He took a shot. He killed it dead. Walked away. The referee called block ball. Didn't bat an eyelid. Just walked back.
Score is 10, serving 14.
Robert is left-handed.
Okay, no, on about.
He won't tell you.
Always throw it in on about. That's it.
He told somebody he was a lefty.
Yeah.
He was a pitcher.
I've asked him a couple of times, and he won't tell me he's left-handed.
He doesn't want to give it away. It's an edge, right?
I think so.
Because everybody is trying to figure out his weakness, and they figure it's his left because he has a good natural arm.
He has no weaknesses that I have ever been able to find.
I think if you hit it at his waist and keep him running, if you volley with him and you drive the ball at his waist.
I don't think keeping him running is going to do you any good because he's too good to return.
Yeah.
13, serving 14.
Great shot. Great one-wall shot.
Game point, 14, serving 14.
Oh. That was nice.
Doesn't make any difference. You can lay it in the corner, as he does. If you can go off the wall, as very, very few people do it. In the 30s and 40s, if you couldn't go off the wall, you couldn't get into the semifinals. You had to go off the wall. Very few people go off the wall now.
Yeah. No, but Eddie, isn't it true that that if somebody tried to play high with you, volleyball, or that it would not be playing to your strength.
Obviously not, especially when it comes to tournaments that you go both ways. The last thing you want to do is go into those long-lasting volleys.
Right.
So, which is why I'm a shooter, because you don't want to exhaust yourself, and you want to be able to save some kind of energy for later rounds.
So if somebody
Just
wanted,
like a fighter, you want to see them going all out unless they know they got they want to intimidate their opponent in such a manner that, or they're looking for that knockout punch in the beginning rounds. What happens to these fighters if they don't knock out their opponent? What happens in the later rounds? Later rounds, they get exhausted and they get beat by somebody who just maybe could take a punch to the chin or something.
yeah, but could some try to take advantage of you, by trying to give you a low percentage shot to shoot? Because they know that you're
What
going
I
to...
try to do is I try to play two types of games. First, obviously the most important is the serve. But aside from the serve, you have to have a good power game in order to create the kind of shots that I look for in my opponents. Just power the ball. Good hooks help a lot. And if you keep behind the ball, they'll eventually give you the shot that you're looking for, which is always the kill shot, right? Or even the passing shot.
Wow. So if you can control and you can dominate the volley, you'll all go your way.
Oh yeah, definitely, most definitely. That's my main objective. Is when I step on that court, especially in the service line, I'm going to be there to try to control the game and maintain control of the game. Once you lose control of the game, anything can happen. Momentum can change, and then psychologically, you can just lose all the shots that you normally make, or you can just lose them. You won't start making them. Psychologically, you're taking yourself out of the game.
It's amazing the percentage of shots that you make and shots that for other people would be low percentage shots.
Well, believe me, I went through my share of mistakes before I reached. I developed shots that nobody can really make as a high percentage shot like I do. But it all takes practice. And the best time to practice is when you're on your own home court. And I've always said you learn a lot more when you lose than when you win. Which playing against B players, and going for certain shots that let's say you can try with open players, it helps you establish the confidence you need. So that way when you do need those kind of shots, you say, well, hey, I did it before, I know how to do that shot.
Yeah.
All you need is confidence on the court.
I noticed that you have tremendous kill shots to either corner. Have you tried to explore the middle as a device for controlling the game?
Sure. But that's another part of my game that I save until I need it, I have a strategy called divide and conquer, which is hit the corners, and once I have them both off the court, I just come right down the middle. The blast shot. It doesn't even have to be a kill shot. It could just be a blast down the middle.
I never saw you against anybody who could hit all kinds of half speed shots and spins and everything like that.
That comes back from the pink ball days. Back in the pink ball days, you had to be able to know how to hook the ball. We used to play with, I don't know if you're familiar with the ball, the Spalding.
I remember it all.
Okay, good. And that's the ball we used to play with, pumped up ball.
That was live, wasn't it?
We used to all look for that 3-inch serve, and in order to attain that 3-inch serve off the floor, you had to know how to hook the ball. Also, fake shots were a key element back in that time too. Looking one way and hitting it the other.
I see you do a lot of that.
Yeah.
Although you do a lot of
but it's
floating.
all basically in the wrist. I think, like said, a lot of those hook serves and certain shots that we used to do back in the football day were because of the wrist action that we used to have.
Right.
And I just applied that wrist action to this game.
You know, speaking of that, you are a very hard hitter, but you always seem to use your forearm. You don't use your shoulders.
No. Well, when I use my shoulders, well, I really don't want to tell you this because I don't want to give away all my secrets, but part of the game that I play as well is body language. You know, a lot of people, when you have a hook serve, people start looking for the body language that tells them, well, which way is he going to hook it? Is he going to throw reverse or is he going to throw natural? Is he going to serve low? Is he going to serve high? And I try to use that to my advantage, knowing this and going through it myself. I try to use my body to psych out my opponent. In other words, I would show my body going in one angle, but yet my wrist will go in another angle. You know, so my body language is I'm serving right, all of a sudden I hit it left.
Now, if you're at the other end of this, I should really shoot you. We're talking like this and it's a timeout. If we look at the other end of this, there is a moment where you feel the player is committed to hitting the ball in a certain way, and you look for the tell. You know. Mm-hmm. So, are you fooled? Are you always looking all the time?
Well, I tell you right now, it's kind of hard to be fooled when you're powering the ball at your opponent at such a speed that he has no other choice but to tell where he's going to hit it. And that's part of it, you know. Usually, that again goes with the power game. We're getting back into this.
Yeah,
you might
right.
want to go back. But if you're playing a power game, it's kind of hard for your opponent to not tell you which way he's going to hit the ball. Whereas if you hit a soft shot to him, he might be able to think a little bit more and actually position himself in such a way that he might look like he will hit it one way, but he'll actually go another way.
Had you ever felt that you were, you know, if you're playing against an opponent and they have a weakness, you know, I presume that you always go after them.
Oh, sure.
But if they have no weakness,
that's part of the game.
right?
Well, that's another secret that I'd rather not get into right now. But definitely, once you get at this level, you need every edge you can get. And if knowing your opponent's weakness is one of them, then that's what you gotta go after. What I try to do if I play against a person I don't know, I'll go for a certain shot. I'll try to go for different variations of shots. I'll try everything. And the shots that I know I have made points on, I'll just try to expose, you know, I'll try to do it again and see if that's a weakness. And if it is a weakness, I try to expose it.
Now, I've noticed that if somebody drives the ball at your left hand, waist high, you'll almost always move over and you'll take the shot with your right hand and you'll try to kill it.
Well, obviously, if I have the time to do that, I'll do it. Because I'll always have a better shot with my right hand than with my left. But that doesn't mean that I was giving that shot with my left hand, especially waist high. I enjoy putting away shots with my left hand as well.
But you know, you've got a terrific left hand for a waist high or a long roll. You know, you can...
Well, it's not the most powerful left hand. It might not be the most natural swing, but I've learned as a younger player that looking pretty is not always effective. Obviously, you know. More of a stiff arm type of a swing is a much more higher percentage shot. And actually, I feel more comfortable swinging that way because I can place the ball a lot better.
Yeah. Now, you talk to yourself as you're on the court. I know that. You have a conversation with yourself.
Well, sometimes, yes, I do.
It's as if...
Especially when I'm I'm missing shots that I know I shouldn't be missing. I start talking to myself a little bit, and sometimes I do that to pump myself up as well.
So there were two parts to you at that point: your conscience and the rest
My
of it.
subconscious, that's definitely.
You know, but it's amazing for a shooter how consistent you are. You know, I mean, a lot of times a shooter, you know, could go into a slump. I haven't seen you go into slumps.
Well, that's partially due to the practicing that I've done. You know, I try to stay on top of my game as much as possible, and playing 3 times a week minimum would be a good way to keep that momentum going.
You know, it's amazing how good Al Torres is, isn't it?
Oh, he's
God, he is something.
he's great. He's great. And still at this age, he's still on top of his game, obviously. Just surprised he didn't play in last year's Nationals. Kind of missed him in that. And I know he was disappointed in not joining. I guess from what I understand, he felt the weather might have a big factor. He probably thought it was going to be too cold.
Yeah.
And, you know, it just turned out beautiful, thank God.
Well, as you get
Especially for me.
older. Right, it's been that great for you.
But he's a great player. Very good player. There's no telling. He's one player I have trouble with knowing what kind of hook he's going to serve.
Hard to tell.
Yes, very hard. He doesn't have a very big tail. You know, it's like in cards, sometimes card players, they look for their tail signs. Well, handball players do it the same way. All right, is this game finished? No, it's not. It's just a good play, I suppose. But handball players, they look for their tail sign as well. And he's one player that's very hard to tell whether he's going to throw a natural or a reverse. So what I try to do with him is just wait a second longer, wait for the ball to hook. And actually don't focus on his wrist so much. I wait a little longer, maybe take one step back and wait for that ball to come off the floor. From that point on, being that I have pretty quick reflexes, I can do that. You know, making a slight adjustment at the very limited time.
Yeah, but you know, I think a lot of times, even if you get the ball back, it's just a second shot that kills you.
Yeah, that's very true. It makes that's why the first serve or the serve is very, very important because
Switch to serve.
yeah, the first serve is very important because that's what keeps the control of your game. You know?
Right.
And returning a serve, especially a hook serve, is very, very difficult. It's not that easy.
So you have to return his serve to get him to move away from the short line.
What I try to do is I'll return his hook serve with another hook. In other words, just taking a little bit more time, because if you try to wail out a serve that's hooking at you, you're going to wind up missing somehow, either skipping the ball or hitting it out. So what I try to do is just take a little bit more time, move a step back, and return it, but with a little something on it, a little surprise for him, you know, just in case he decides to run up on it and try to kill it off the wall. All of a sudden, now he's faced with the same situation I was faced with on his serve, you know, which was a little hook that might have given you that much less time to figure out how to hit it. Right. So.
But how do you deal with the fact that he also has a serve to the short line, which is an ace, that he'll throw in also? So you can't lay back on the long line and wait for those hooks to...
Obviously not. That's the first serve you look for. That's part of the tell sign that you look for. Knowing how low he bends down, you know, that you more or less judge whether he's going real, real low or whether he's going real, real high. Obviously, with my partner, it's kind of hard to tell that, Paul Williams, because he looks like his ball, he hits it with such tremendous power that he looks like he's serving a very low game, but it winds up coming down to the long line. So not many people have that kind of power to do that. So so therefore you look for the tail sound as far as how low a person bends down an ice skate.
Yeah, it's amazing. Al comes in on his left leg, and he swings, and he still has power. He doesn't use his body all that much. It's strange how he swings. He can put his left leg forward and swing.
Well, that's
bizarre.
That's part of the reason why it's so hard to figure out which way he's going to serve sometimes, because the less movement the server makes with his body, the harder it is to tell where he's going to serve it, or how he's going to serve it, which makes our serve that much more difficult.
Do you prefer to play singles or doubles?
I enjoy both, especially recently, being that I slammed. I enjoy both types of games. I enjoy doubles so much because we used to play that back in Rockaway. And
are you from Rockaway?
No, I'm actually from Queens. Well, I'm living in Queens now. I grew up in Brooklyn 21 years, and I moved out to Queens for the last 10 years. And I play all my black ball in Queens, though. Back in the pinkball days, that used to be in Brooklyn. But as far as black ball is concerned, everything was in Queens.
When Al really gets in there, he really wants to play.
Oh yeah. I'll tell you something. I think part of my success in handball was because of the fact that whenever I played, let's say, against either a team or, mostly in doubles, whenever I would play against two opponents, I would always go after the stronger one. During practice, obviously, you look for a person's weakness during a tournament, but as far as practicing goes, I would always challenge the stronger player, because that's the only way you're going to learn, is by playing the stronger player.
So you're saying
not being intimidated by a stronger player.
So you're saying, that you have, there are certain players who are lion-hearted. I think of Al as having the heart of a lion. He really wants to, if he's there. So, isn't that something? But I wonder whether is the issue in handball, is the emotional issue, is it intimidation, is it excellence, playing? How would you describe the emotional issue?
It has a lot to do with intimidation, believe it or not, whether it be conscious or not. When you step on the court against a competitor, or a competitor which has the ability to beat you, intimidation might be a very big factor. Having the confidence to I used to be, when I was, up to about a few years ago, every time I step on against, on the court against somebody, I would be very nervous, and I would wind up messing up a few of the beginning serves or a few volleys until I got a rhythm going, and that's all part of being intimidated. Sometimes, say for instance, when I first stepped on the court with Joe Durso, I said, well, here I am, faced against a guy that has won it for so many years, and it's a little intimidating, But after a while, I started realizing, I said, I have just as much talent as anybody else. Why am I being intimidated? Maybe I should intimidate them.
Also, you were giving away about 3 points every day.
Yeah, sure. That when you do something like that, when you give away points like that, it's hard to come back from that. You can never come back from that. You know, you can never get those points back. So, you know, having confidence when you step on the court is a very big factor. You know, it's the key to my success right now. When I step on the court, I know that I'm not nervous anymore because, well, obviously, especially now, I'm number one. So I feel very confident in the game. But that's not to say that I underestimate anybody, because when it comes to a tournament competition, I'm there to chew you up and spit you out, so to speak.
Right?
Well, Matt, thank you very much for the interview.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to be playing now, so hopefully we'll get a chance to chat again.
Okay. Okay. Bye-bye, Eddie.
That's why Charlie O'Connell doesn't get his due.
Line, short line is 0-0. One, serving 0. Point. 2, serving 0.
Did they go in? Too bad.
One fault.
Too dry.
Point. 3, serving 0. Point. 4, serving 0. Point. 5, serving 0.
That's Eddie's shot.
That's the one you asked him about.
That's not what you give him. You try to stop him from doing that.
Ref is in there.
Well, if you see no space and you're on the proper side of the line, then it must have hit the line.
Which is the right side of the line.
If it's the right sideline that you're talking about, then you're supposed to be on the inside of the court. And the man who was on the right side, refereeing the match, was on the wrong side of the line.
Yeah. I got it. You know, Albert's playing left-handed. That's amazing.
He played that way the first game, and he's not really playing.
He is a good left hand.